guys, let's solve case scenario 23. Like the last alphabet or last number here, this is on accounting standard 3. Cash. Shall we begin reading the question? J Limited submits the following data extracted from final accounts as on 31st March 2023. Don't waste time and energy here. Come to the end. What do they want? They've given us a lot of information. Based on the above information, answer the following. Like I told you, always read the question once so that you understand what they've asked. They're basically asking us how much is cash flow from operating activity, investing activity, and closing cash and cash equivalent. So basically, you have no option. Yeah, you have to prepare something like cash flow statement. Okay. They've not given any information. I will do it under direct approach. It is much simpler. From the additional information given by J Limited on 31st March 2023, they decided to do reconstruction of the company. Oh, they're doing something like internal reconstruction. But we'll focus on what will affect cash flow. What will affect cash flow? See, 9% debentures to be settled by issuing them 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each. Non-cash consideration will not affect. But they've given one last question where they've asked what is the amount of closing cash and cash equivalent. See, idala. They've asked balance of equity share capital after reconstruction. So we should know how much is there in the share capital after all of this. So I'll make a note there. What happened here? 9% debentures to be fully settled by issuing 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10. How many equity shares were there at the beginning? 50,000 shares. So keeping that in mind, I will write one point here. Opening capital is 50,000 shares of rupees 10 each, which was 5 lakh. What did we do? We issued equity shares to some debenture holders. How much did we issue? As per the question here, 15,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each. When I issue 15,000 shares of rupees 10 each, capital will only increase by 1,50,000. I have written it here so that at the end I will find the closing capital after all this reconstruction. Done. Come to the next line. Equity shareholders will give up 40% of their capital in exchange of 11% debentures. So some equity shareholders will become debenture holders. This will not affect cash flow statement. Will this affect cash flow statement? No, it will not. But equity share capital will decrease. How much? 40%. This 40% is on this original, not including these debentures. Papa, these debenture holders have just now become equity shareholders. Will you make again debentures? No. This opening is there, no. 5 lakh. In that, 40% is surrendered. How much is 5 lakh into 40%? If it is surrendered, capital will decrease. I'll write minus 2. I'll write minus. Understood? We're doing internal reconstruction, come cash flows. Then we have balance of profit and loss to be written off. Nobody cares. Why? Firstly, this will not affect our cash flow statement. Nextly, it will not affect capital. So what do? Ignore. Equity shares are issued to the extent of 1 lakh. This is a good one. Huh? Equity shares, when it is issued to the extent of 1 lakh, cash will come 1 lakh. Cash inflow. Which activity? Financing activity. See, in financing activity, I'll write issue of equity shares 1 lakh. Next thing, this will increase the capital. In your equity share capital here, you will write new capital issue, which is how many? Have they told how many shares? Nothing. They have told 1 lakh, I will write 1 lakh. Actually, this will identify the fourth sub question for 2 marks each, 8 marks for this question what we're solving now. Got it? Then, in addition to the above, what and all are they doing? See, interest is received on advances from suppliers 3,000. On advances you received interest. There are some suppliers, creditors, to them you given extra money. On that they gave interest. This is not loan given to them. Yeah, it is operating in nature. Don't treat this as investing. Interest received on advances 3,000 operating inflow. Okay. Next, B. Tax liability settled at 14,000. Tax paid operating outflow. I would write here tax liability settled 14,000 operating outflow. Okay. See the third one. A debtor of 40,000 is insolvent. Papa, he cannot pay full money. Only 40% of his due is recovered. Ignore bad debts. We are not doing indirect approach. We are doing direct. 40,000 is the amount receivable. 40% is recovered. Can I say it is operating inflow and it is 40,000 into 40%, 16,000 inflow I have added it. If it was indirect, then bad debt was supposed to be added back because it was previously deducted in computing profit. but we are not doing indirect. We're doing only direct method. But this next, what do we have after that? Dividend is received on investment in Star Limited, rupees 1 per equity share. On one share, we have received 1 rupee dividend. Invested, money invested, dividend received is investing inflow. How much money will we receive? Don't write 1 rupee. Come to the question. We have balance sheet here. Other than some specific items, entire balance sheet is waste. How many equity shares have been invested in Star Limited? 10,000. For each share, you receive 1 rupee. For 10,000 shares, you receive, can I say, investing inflow, dividend on investment, 10,000 rupees into 1 per share, 10,000 inflow plus. But this, the majority of your balance sheet items are irrelevant. Are you getting it? Yeah. Then come to the next item. Last item. A part of plant and machinery is sold at a loss of 3,000. Book value 15, sold at a loss of 3. So sold for what value? 12,000. What activity? Operating, investing, financing. Investing. Come to investing activity, right? Sale of plant, 15,000 book value, 12,000 is the, oh sorry, 3,000 is the lost amount. You would get 12,000 to be cash receipt, and that's it. If you were doing indirect, that 3,000 would be lost, debited to P&L, non-operating expense, debited to P&L, add back. No drama. Here, direct method. Anything else in the question? No. Rest of the items in balance sheet are to be just ignored. So you see so much of irrelevant information in this question. And tell me the total of operating activities. 3 minus 14 minus 11 minus 11 plus 16, 5,000. And here 22, here 1 lakh. Opening cash will be available to us in the question, or I think closing cash will be available. What's available? 65,500. As on what date? 31st of March 2023. Can I say 31st of March 2023, the balance of 65,500 is opening? Correct? No. 31st March 2023. And we're doing necessary resolution is passed. No, I think it's closing. No, 65,500. 65,500 is closing. 65,500 is closing. We have to find opening. We have to find. How do we find opening? Very easy. Very easy. Let me write here. Yeah. So investing. Cash flow. For that, operating cash flow. Operating cash flow. Opening. CNC. Closing CNC. Closing is 65,500, 522 and 1 lakh. 5,000, 22,000, 1 lakh. 1 lakh. This is missing. How do we find this? Net cash flow. Can I say total cash flow? How much is total cash flow? 1,27,000. 1,27,000 plus opening is equal to 65,500. I think there is something wrong. Opening cash and cash equivalent will become negative here. It can't be. So this has to be opening. The 65,500 has to be opening. I'll tell you why. If you assume 65,000, if you take 65,500 as closing, you received 1,27,000. How can it be closing 65,500? Opening will become negative. Opening cannot be negative. So there is something wrong in the way the data is given in the question. The 5,500 has to be opening. Closing needs to be found. Closing needs to be found. I am sorry to say this, but the question is wrong in this case. How much will we get as closing? Let's check. Options might be correct. We'll get 1,92,500 as our closing cash and cash equivalent. You all agree with me? Come on, let's see the questions. First sub question. What is first sub question? Cash flow from operating activity. How much is it? 5,000. Do we have option 5,000? First one B, 5,000. Next one, cash flow from investing activity. How much is it from investing? 22,000. Check here, 22,000, option D. Third one, what is the closing cash? See, closing cash. They've messed up the dates. If they've given closing, then that will be closing. No. Why do we have to find? So they messed up the dates. Closing cash and cash equivalent has to be found. We just found it. 1,92,000. That's it. 1,90,000. Understood? Third one, A. Fourth one, balance of equity share capital after internal reconstruction. 5 lakh was there, 1 lakh 50,000 is additionally given to debenture holders, 2 lakh has been surrendered, 1 lakh has been capital issued. Remember internal reconstruction and then tell me what will be the capital. 5 lakh 50,000. This is capital after reconstruction. Capital after reconstruction. 5 lakh 50,000. See the option 5 lakh. See 5,000, 5,000, 22,000. What did we get? 5,000, 22,000. 1 lakh 92,500. Opening they have taken 65,000. Then finally 5 lakh 50 is it is after reconstruction. That's what you will be. But this